Hi folks, this is Dr. Femi Adegbulu again coming your way. Well, unfortunately, we have to talk again about the area we have been focusing on all this while. South Africa and Nigeria. It is an issue that has refused to go away. This issue of xenophobia in South Africa, which seems to have been elevated to another level. I'm addressing this issue today. But this time around, it's like a zero-sum game between two countries. A zero-sum game in which the gain of somebody is another one's loss. Today, I'm going to discuss how the loss of South Africa has become the gain of Nigeria in this zero-sum game affair that they have embarked on, particularly over the lady called Chidinma. Yes, Chidinma. When I first heard this case of Chidinma, I was reluctant to talk about it. I didn't want to say anything about it. I just, well, let them sort out this issue. But I didn't want to comment. But after I embarked on some historically intellectual voyage on this same matter, I realized that it was a zero-sum game between South Africa and Nigeria. I said, this thing is worth exploring. In this case, the loss of South Africa has become the gain of Nigeria. So when I first saw the name Chidinma Adechina, I smelled a rat, because the spelling and everything about that name, does not just sound well to me. This is because no Yoruba woman of the southwestern Nigeria will give birth to a girl and give her the name Chidinma. No, that name belongs to another ethnicity in Nigeria. Besides, when I saw the spelling of her father's name, Adeshina, with T and H, now making Adechino, I said no. I just concluded in my thought that a malapropism has taken place here. This is not the real name. The real spelling of Adechino does not have T, it does not have H. It is Adeshino, which has a lot of meaning in Yoruba land. It has a lot of meaning. That crown has opened the way. Adeshina. And it is spelled Adesina. Not with a T, not with with any H. So, that apart, the story of Chidinma and how that poor girl was harassed into withdrawing from the South African beauty pageant have been well told. A lot of videos have been made on that issue. So I don't want that to delay us here. We are not going to discuss the wherefores and the manner in which the girl was disgraced. But we just talk a little about it.
What if I told you one of the biggest and most divisive scandals of the year in South Africa is all to do with a beauty pageant? Well, Chidinma Adechina has just given up her crown as Miss South Africa amid a massive online backlash over her selection. Allegations are swirling about her nationality, age, and where she was even born. So let's take a moment and explain what's been going on. When Chidinma was announced as one of this year's finalists, some people started combing the internet for details about her life. They found out her father is from Nigeria, while her mother is South African with Mozambican roots. The backlash was swift and brutal. Many of the comments say she isn't a real South African, despite her saying she was born in Soweto and grew up in Cape Town. The BBC at that point reached out to Chidima, but she declined to comment on the matter. While Miss South Africa organizer told the BBC that she was eligible to compete, scrutiny made them reach out to the country's Home Affairs Department to look into Chidima's citizenship. The department found that Chidima's mother may have committed identity fraud, but the Home Affairs said Chidima couldn't have participated in the actions of her mother because she was an infant at the time. At this point, Chidima announced online that she was withdrawing from the competition for her family's safety and well-being.
Our concern here is to look at the salient issues germane to xenophobia and Afrophobia. The heat accompanied by threat was so much for the poor girl, Chidima, that she has to withdraw her candidature for the safety of her family. Unfortunately, Chidima was not the only lady that has suffered, or not the only lady of African descent that has suffered this type of opprobrious xenophobia and Afrophobia. She wasn't the only one. Melissa Nayi faced similar ordeal. Yes, she faced similar ordeal under similar circumstances. Hear her. Let's hear her story.
Her father is Ugandan and her mother is South African.
I had just made it to the top 16 of Miss South Africa. You know, it was a time of celebration. I was so excited that here I am, I'm a finalist in such a big competition. And literally, as soon after that, I logged onto social media. The first thing I come across is, how dare she enter Miss South Africa? She's not even fully South African, therefore she cannot represent us. One comment that particularly stood out for me, and I do apologize for using this word to those I will offend, and the word is kwere. Foreigners are called kwere in South Africa, and I don't think most people realize how painful that word is because it is offensive, it is disrespectful, it's derogatory.
Did you hear that? Did you hear her? She was denigrated and was called derogatory name, kwere, in South Africa. A highly offensive and disparaging name that they used to call unwanted foreigners, kwere. Melissa was called all kind of names just because to show her that she was not wanted. Now, Chidima noted that her treatment was racially discriminating and that it was a black on black hate. Why? Because there were other contestants of European and Asian origin, contestants of Europe and Asian descent who were not treated the same way Chidima was treated. I'm still coming. We have cases to discuss on each of these. This attitude, according to Dr. Nombulelo Shange, was based on certain xenophobic and Afrophobic consideration. Yes. So when I said the other time that there is xenophobia, there is Afrophobia in Africa, in South Africa, oh, you all call for my head. Now, this Dr. Shange is a South African. Hear her.
Up until 1994, South Africa was under apartheid rule, a racist system which favored white people and put black people at the bottom.
I think people have reacted negatively to Chidima because there is the sense that she does not belong in South Africa, partly because of her sort of dual ethnicity. A lot of this from the South African context is fueled by this fear and sometimes sadly hate that we have towards African nationals, and also it's a combination and a duality between that Afrophobic, xenophobic hate, as well as the gendered nuance. The fact that she's a Black woman is also quite important for how people have responded to this challenge on social media. Black womanhood in South Africa has historically been vilified as a symptom of the colonial as well as the apartheid legacy.
You see what I mean? The question now is, were Chidinma and Melissa the first celebrities to have dual ethnicity and dual nationality in South Africa? Were they the only two? Leads to Shange again.
Chidinma is not the first South African to have dual ethnicity, dual nationality. We have celebrities like Trevor Noah, who we welcome and we celebrate, and as a country, most people love and appreciate the work that he's doing globally. And he, for instance, has a Swiss father and a South African mother. And so if this was an issue of nationality only, then all of these and many other individuals in South Africa should also experience the same hate. What is happening to Chidinma, as I said, it specifically has to do with also discussions around colorism and what type of Blackness is deemed acceptable and what type of Blackness is rejected.
You see, Chidinma's nationality became such a hot issue that even the cabinet ministers in South Africa, top politicians and celebrities, they have to push aside other critical state matters in order to debate the qualification of a 23-year-old who wanted to do South Africa proud by participating in world beauty pageant. They set aside state issues, state affairs, to discuss whether she is qualified or not. Hear how a foreign broadcaster put it. This another video of a foreign broadcaster. Look at what she said about it.
After being at the center of a national debate on identity and citizenship, former Miss South Africa contestant Chidinma Adetshina has now been invited to the Miss Universe Nigeria contest. Chidinma Adetshina pulled out from the Miss South Africa pageant after a nationality row over her Nigerian roots. Miss Universe Nigeria extended the invitation to Adetshina, calling it an opportunity to represent her father's native land on an international stage. 23-year-old Adetshina was subjected to a torrent of online abuse and xenophobic attacks over her Nigerian heritage. Many, including South African cabinet ministers, questioned her credentials. Her nationality had been a hot topic among politicians and celebrities, and even on television news and radio talk shows in recent weeks. Earlier, the South African government announced that her mother may have committed identity theft to become a South African national. Adetshina, a law student, was born and grew up in South Africa, and her father was Nigerian and her mother was South African of Mozambican descent. But as the row escalated, Adetshina withdrew from the Miss South Africa pageant, where she was one of the finalists. Now, South Africa grants citizenship by birth to anyone born in the country after 1995 to a South African parent or a permanent resident. But with increasing questions over her bloodline and an investigation into her mother's citizenship, Adetshina said that she was quitting the pageant for her family's well-being. Her participation stoked anti-foreigner sentiment in South Africa. In recent years, South Africa has witnessed an increase in hostility toward foreigners. This is because its people are suffering due to unwavering unemployment. Despite a low economic growth, the country attracts millions of migrants, mainly from other African countries.
Now, if South Africans are suffering due to job or lack of job opportunities, according to this broadcaster. I'm still wondering how Chidinma is connected to this. I'm wondering how Chidinma is to blame for lack of jobs in South Africa, for you know, joblessness in South Africa, for lack of opportunity for South Africans to work. How is Chidinma connected to this? I do not know. Why the transfer of aggression on Chidinma? I do not know. In fact, one would have considered the emergence of people like Chidinma and Melissa going on global stage to showcase the glory of South Africa. One would have considered it as a blessing to South Africa, which South Africa can easily tap on. But alas, Afrophobia and peevish behavior has prevented the glory Chidinma would have brought to South Africa. Should any country in a continent that is so hungry for unity and development be this petulant, especially towards their budding stars? Should it be so? Should Chidinma and Melissa be made to suffer malicious pettiness because of selective persecution? These are pertinent questions. Let's lay aside all other considerations. Should these poor girls be made to suffer for some political reasons which they know nothing about? These are issues we should be addressing now. Anyway, after the disgraceful rejection in South Africa, Chidinma was invited to Nigeria. A case of, so if you don't value her, we have need of her. If you don't know her worth, we know her worth. Come to Nigeria. Chidinma went to Nigeria. For those of you who quarreled with and castigated me for using South African name and flag on issues pertaining to South Africa in my previous videos, here are some questions for you. I have some questions for you. In this current case of Chidinma, which country's name should I mention? Which nationality should I use? So when people accuse you of xenophobia, you abuse and denounce them. What is the appropriate description for the current dehumanizing, discriminatory attitude against a child born and raised in South Africa by a South African mother? What is the best description for that? If it is not xenophobia, if it is not Afrophobia, tell me. When in my previous videos, I called out South Africa for her blanket vilification and condemnation of Nigerians as troublemakers, drug dealers, and what have you. Many of you insulted me. You called me names. Some even went to the ludicrously ridiculous extent of questioning my PhD. I don't blame you. You said that Nigerians dealt in drugs and so were unwanted in South Africa. Now, it is the turn of poor, innocent, and innocuous Chidinma, a South African born lady with a Nigerian father and South African mother with Mozambican descent. What's her own fault now? What is her problem? What issue do you have with her? Nationality. Yet the mother may have committed the error or the offense. I'm not absolving the mother of that. But should you visit it on the innocent girl? Chidinma was born in Soweto and raised in Pretoria and has not known any other country besides South Africa. Yes. It is ludicrous indeed. It's like telling one of the descendants of Boaz in your country now, say that now because your great-great-grandfather came from Netherlands, now go back to Holland because we don't know you. Your father was a Hollander. Then you have a mother that is South African. Go back to where your father came from. Is that reasonable? Can you even do that? You can't even do it. I ask you a question. Did you reject Chidinma because she was a Nigerian or because you regarded her as part of Africa, that is Mozambique, that you equally hate like Nigeria? Was that the reason why you rejected the poor girl? If you rejected Chidinma because of her dual nationality, but embraced other with European and Asian ancestries, what does that say about South Africa? Does that not smack of colonial mentality and Afrophobia? And does that not portray a hermetic hypothetical case? A case that it kind of shows that, you know, others with light skin are more intelligent and more useful than your own color? If at these times and age, an African country still believes that some folks are of superior race than them 30 years after independence, is that not mental slavery from which South Africa must purge itself to fully harness its potentials within the Committee of Nations? Look at Chidinma today. Look at her.
Now, in a display of resilience, Chidinma Adetshina, the Nigerian South African dual citizen, has turned the page on a tumultuous chapter. Adetshina has been crowned Miss Universe Nigeria after withdrawing from the Miss South Africa pageant due to controversy surrounding her Nigerian heritage. Her decision to leave the Miss South Africa competition in August followed a wave of xenophobic backlash when it was revealed that her parents were not South African. Now, born and raised in South Africa, her Nigerian father and mother from Mozambique sparked heated debates about her eligibility to compete. The controversy deepened when South Africa's Home Affairs Department accused Adetshina's mother of potential identity fraud to secure South African citizenship. This put the 22-year-old in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. Representing Nigeria's Taraba state, Adetshina competed against 24 other contestants, emerging victorious in the moment she described as more than just a win.
This journey has been a tough journey for me, and I am so proud of myself, and I'm really grateful for all the love and the support. I just don't even know what to say. I think the excitement, the emotions are really everywhere right now, but I'm just like really grateful for both countries and Africa in general, because the love and support was not only coming from South Africa or Nigeria, it was coming from Ghana, literally every single way as well, and I'm so proud and I'm so happy.
You see her? Chidinma is now the stone rejected by the builders, but which has become the chief cornerstone. You rejected her, Nigeria embraced her, and look at her today, shining and glowing. What am I saying? We must purge ourselves of these things. We just have to. Irrespective of the argument you are bringing to attack me, I want you to be sober on this issue. Reflect on this and see if that girl truly deserves the punishment you meted out to her. I know that others will suffer the same fate unless and until you change. As usual, I say it point blankly without caring whose us is God. I remain the only peacemaker with a weapon of mass destruction, which is the truth. The truth. Till I come your way again, expect another thought-provoking, conscience-pricking video very soon. Remember to stay out of trouble in all of this, okay? So that we can meet in peace in our next encounter. To all my returning subscribers, it's time to thank you. It's time to appreciate you for your consistency and your abiding faith in me. And to all my prospective subscribers who have not subscribed to my channel, let me use this opportunity to urge you to kindly subscribe and click that notification button so that whenever an upload comes, it will drop on your space effortlessly. I remain yours sincerely, Dr. Femi Adegbulu. As I sign out, God bless you. Till we meet again. Bye.